The rain hammered against the reinforced fabric of Commander Jake Morrison's field tent like bullets from a Zephyrian pulse rifle. After 18 hours of brutal combat on the contested moon of Kepler 442b, the sound should have been soothing. Instead, it reminded him of everything they'd lost today. Morrison sat hunched over his tactical display, studying casualty reports that made his stomach turn. 37 humans dead, 62 wounded, against an enemy force of crystalline beings who felt no pain, knew no fear, and regenerated faster than his Marines could put them down. The tent flap whispered open behind him. "Sir?" The voice was soft, feminine, tinged with exhaustion. Morrison didn't turn around. "Lieutenant Chen, I told you to get some rest. We move at 600. "I tried, sir, but I can't stop thinking about Williams and Rodriguez." Morrison's jaw tightened. Williams had been 19, fresh out of basic. Rodriguez had 3 kids back on Mars Colony. Both were vapor now, thanks to Zephyrian crystal cannons. "Commander?" Chen's voice was closer now, barely above a whisper. "Are you alone?" Something in her tone made him finally turn. Lieutenant Sarah Chen stood just inside the tent entrance, her usually pristine uniform torn and mud-stained. Her dark hair had escaped its regulation bun, framing a face etched with the same exhaustion that weighed on every human soldier in this God-forsaken war. But what struck Morrison most was her eyes. In 3 years of fighting alongside Chen, he'd never seen her look so vulnerable. "Chen, what's wrong?" Without a word, she began stripping off her battle gear. The heavy ceramic plates of her armor hit the ground with dull thuds. Her weapon harness followed, then her tactical vest laden with ammunition and medical supplies. Morrison stood quickly. "Lieutenant, what are you—" "I found something today, sir." Her voice trembled as she pulled off her helmet, revealing a fresh bandage wrapped around her left temple. "When the Zephyrians overran Bravo Company's position, I got separated, ended up in one of their crystal formations." Morrison felt ice in his veins. Soldiers who got trapped in Zephyrian crystal growth rarely came back. And when they did— "I should report this to medical," he said, reaching for his comm unit. "Wait." Chen's hand shot out, catching his wrist. Her grip was strong, desperate. "Please, just listen first." She continued removing her gear down to her basic fatigues. As each piece fell away, Morrison noticed something that made his breath catch. Thin, silvery lines traced across her exposed skin, her arms, her neck, disappearing beneath her clothing. They pulsed with a faint, ethereal light. The crystals. They tried to integrate me, like they do with their own kind. Chen's voice was barely audible above the rain. But something went wrong. Or maybe it went right. She closed her eyes, and the silver lines flared brighter. Morrison's tactical display suddenly lit up with new information: enemy positions, troop movements, supply routes, data that no human reconnaissance could have gathered. "I can see their network, Commander, feel their thoughts. They're not evil, just different. They integrate everything because they don't understand the concept of individual consciousness. To them, we're just incomplete." Morrison stared at the intelligence flooding his screen. With this information, they could end the war, save thousands of human lives, but at what cost? "Chen, this is— I know what you're thinking." She opened her eyes, meeting his gaze. "That I'm compromised. That I might be a weapon they're using against us. And maybe I am. But right now, I'm still Sarah Chen. I still remember my first day at the academy. I still miss my grandmother's dumplings. I still believe in what we're fighting for." Morrison studied her face, searching for any trace of the cold, inhuman logic that characterized Zephyrian combat patterns. Instead, he saw something quintessentially human: doubt, fear, and hope warring in her expression. "Why come to me?" he asked. Because you've never treated any of us as expendable. Williams, Rodriguez, even that hothead Private Martinez. You remember all their names. You mourn every loss. The silver lines on her skin pulsed gently. The Zephyrians don't understand that. They calculate acceptable losses like we calculate ammunition expenditure. They can't comprehend why humans fight harder after losses, not weaker. Morrison nodded slowly. It was true. The aliens had superior technology, greater numbers, and enhanced regenerative abilities. But they'd consistently underestimated human tenacity, creativity, and the bonds that held military units together. What do you propose, Lieutenant? Chen straightened, and for a moment the exhausted soldier was replaced by the brilliant tactician Morrison had relied on for 3 years. We use their network against them. I can feed them false information while gathering intelligence for our forces, but I'll need your help to maintain my humanity. What do you mean? Regular contact with human thoughts, human emotions. The integration process is ongoing. I can feel myself changing. But every conversation with you, every shared memory of our fallen comrades, every moment of doubt and hope and pain, it anchors me to what I am. Morrison looked at the tactical display, then back at Chen. The silver lines had faded to barely visible traces, but her eyes remained sharp, determined, and undeniably human. All right, Lieutenant, but we do this my way. Regular medical checkups, daily debriefings, and the moment I think you're more Zephyrian than human, he left the threat unfinished. Chen smiled, the first genuine smile he'd seen from any of his soldiers in weeks. Understood, sir. Thank you for trusting me. As she began collecting her gear, Morrison realized this was why humanity would ultimately prevail. Not because they were stronger or smarter, but because they understood something the crystalline beings never could: the power of individual choice, trust, and sacrifice. The war was far from over, but for the first time in months, Commander Morrison felt something he'd almost forgotten: hope.